All right, welcome to the show. If you're like me, just so freaking tired right now, it's the end of our season. And if you've run the full year doing event planning, balloons, flowers, you're probably ending this year just extremely tired. But this is the moment to say, wow, I did it. I made it through the full year. I didn't quit. I paid people. I did so many events. And I think there's like a law that we'll talk about later in the video where we have this break where people are not booking events too much because it's our slow season. But this is the perfect opportunity just to say, I did it. And it's been another successful year, and to just reflect on how the year's been and take some of the lessons that you've learned and take it to the next year. So, in today's episode, we have a lot of good stuff talking about how we can grow our business in 2026, some predictions of what I think is going to happen in 2026 as far as events go. And just to give you sound advice from someone who's had a business for 6 years now, what this moment in time feels like at the end of the year. So let's get started. So I want to start off with the dead zone. Now, this is generally 2 weeks that happens between Christmas and the first week of January. So I think it happens around December 20th and it goes to like January 6th. And this is a very difficult point. Now, if you're a business that doesn't have a lot of overhead and doesn't have a lot of like people to pay, maybe you could take these 2 weeks off and go on a vacation and you don't have to worry. But if you have like bills coming in, you do have to be careful at this time. And so this is a time where your clients are taking a break and they don't have too much money after Christmas and after the holidays. And so the good thing is people are sitting around talking about parties at Christmas time. They're talking about their upcoming baby shower. They're talking about the upcoming bridal showers, but no one's like filling out forms at this time. No one's talking on the phone. People are taking a mental break. And so this is a time for you to do that, but it does mean there's going to be a lull in business and a lull in sales. And if you have bills coming in, you just have to shift things around. You have to know no matter how hard you work, sometimes people are just not going to fill out a form. People are not going to make a purchase during this time. People just spend a ton of money on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then they just need a reset. They need to get a break. A lot of people that maybe don't have a full-time job that's salary, their business is closed. So like their pocketbooks are just a little bit lower than normal. It's just a time period that like it is very difficult for event professionals, for also the reason that it's super cold and there's not too many events in January. So like you're not going to get your like, if you're in October, maybe you can lean on Halloween or Christmas, but there's no really holidays that would push for someone to spend money with you early. But we can start marketing Valentine's Day and graduations during this time. Those are two holidays that I do think are coming up very quickly. Graduations happen in like March and April. And then Valentine's Day is the first 2 weeks of February. So it does make sense for you to start your strategy on Valentine's Day. But I wouldn't spend too much money on Valentine's Day the first week of January. As soon as you hit like this January 6th, go hard. But this is a time to have everything prepared. Have your product photos of flowers that you're going to do for Valentine's Day. Have your balloons and your arrangements that you're going to have. Get all your product offerings together and your marketing plan together so that you're ready to go. But don't try to just like pick up last minute, Christmas deals right now. I mean, or New Year's. New Year's isn't typically, a holiday that produces a lot for a lot of the event professionals. People book those New Year events way in advance. They book them 6 months in advance because they're generally bigger parties for corporate parties and stuff like that. Aside from maybe people getting some helium balloons for New Year's, I think your best play is to do Valentine's Day and focus on that, and then start to get in people's minds for graduations. What kind of offerings and services can you do for graduations? And then on the back burner, St. Patrick's Day. Now, I just want to talk about for my predictions for 2026. Do you think the economy is getting a little bit more hectic? I think that, we're seeing major layoffs. We're seeing the grocery prices being really expensive. So the way that we're seeing consumer spending is just a little bit different. And I noticed that this year with our store. We opened our store 3 years ago, and the first 2 years booming. I mean, the streets were full. People were buying random stuff just to have, and I've noticed this year it's just a lot different. The streets aren't as busy. People will come in and they appreciate your store, but they're gonna hold on to their money a little bit more because grocery prices and gas and all these things are a little bit more expensive. So what tends to work in the past for event professionals to kind of boost their pocketbooks is novelty items. So like, having a party for having a sushi party or having, these random quirky gifts at your store, but people are not going to make those purchases. Really, what people make purchases on during times of a recession or times where things get more tight is experiences. The good thing is events are experiences, and we do provide an enhanced experience with flowers and balloons and event planning, all the stuff that you guys offer. But we just have to be careful of like the services that we offer. We have to make sure that it's really something that someone would be worth doing. So yeah, I think that's my prediction for 2026. I think people are going to be more focused on experiences and not on novelty items. As far as like colors go, like I think we're far out of the neutrals and the minimalist era. Being in this business for 6 years, you kind of go in it and out. When we first started, for example, it was very neutral boho. It was for the balloon decor and for like backdrops. It was the Winnie the Pooh with the very light pastels. Everything was very muted. And then now we're seeing, a lot more bright colors. We're seeing insane amount of fruit. We're seeing like cherry parties and cutie like orange parties and just crazy themes we've never seen before. And color is back. So like I think we'll continue with those colors. I think mixed materials is going to be really important in 2026. So like, our backdrops for the longest time have been made out of wood, but we're looking into acrylic. We're looking into fun textures to kind of add dimension to these things. But yeah, I think what's good is like the fun part of throwing a party is color. And so that's in. So like that's gonna be really fun for us as we grow our business because color is fun. I'm trying to think of other predictions. I do think, people, what I'm seeing in the marketing realm is some of the old methods that it would take to win a customer over isn't going to work as well. We're going to have to really fish for clients. We're going to really have to make sure we reel them in. And what that means is whenever you're on Google, people are typing in, florist near me or balloon artist near me. They're in the moment. They're going to order. They're going to search of a solution. But because of the market, I think people are going to be more competitive in the Google sphere. So like moving over to Facebook's going to be really important so that people who wouldn't even consider flowers or balloons or event planning would start to say, wow, maybe I do need that. So like we have to remove ourselves from the competition of Google and we have to start to focus on content creation. I think that is the most important thing we can do in 2026. The people that give us value, we're going to put our money where the value is. So like if you're giving us tips, if you're going to hold our hand through different things, that's going to allow trust to be built and allow content to be pushed on Facebook so that the algorithm starts to pick up people who would want to purchase with us. Those are my marketing predictions. I think we just have to really focus on content, podcasts. I think long-term YouTube videos, what really works right now is like you could sit down, just very similar to this, and you could shoot a YouTube video for an hour. And then there is a online software like Opus Clips that can cut all of your clips of what you've talked about into mini clips. And then you have content for literally weeks. And it doesn't have to be like podcast style like this. So live streaming like we're doing here, but it can be you doing a class. It could be you walking around the store, telling a story, but just that long term, I would say like 20 minutes can be cut up into all those little micro pieces of value. And then whenever you post them on YouTube, it's like A/B testing. I don't want to get too technical, but you're basically throwing 20 pieces of content out to the algorithm, whether it be YouTube Shorts, whether it be Instagram Stories, whether it be TikTok Reels. I think I mixed all that up, but you throw it all out there and then you see which content performs best. So in that 20-minute clip that you did, 1 minute you talked about selecting balloon colors, and the next one you're talking about how to choose the right venue. Well, if we notice the venue clip goes and does a lot better, now we can start to train ourselves to know the type of content that performs well, and we can start to adapt and adjust to make more of that content. that's where my head is going for 2026. Marketing's changing a little bit, headed to content. And then, like I said, I think things are getting a little bit hairier, a little bit tighter for 2026. So we just have to be focused on, providing value. The last piece of information I want to give you guys, this video is supposed to be like an update for 2026. As a business owner, the best thing I've learned ever, and I have to remind myself to do this, is you will be pushed to make decisions that are the right decision or tough or challenging. And deep down inside it's the right decision, but sometimes it's hard to make that jump. And what I've learned, whether it be God, whether it be a higher calling, whether it be intuition, business owners have this skill inside them to know when to do the thing that they need to do, but sometimes we don't do it quick enough. And so what I mean by that is whenever something pops in your mind and you're like, should I do that thing? I want you to understand the first time that pops in your mind, it's like a little poke. It's like, hey, maybe we should do this. And then if you don't listen after that, it's like a shove. It's like, hey, you should do this. And then after that, if you don't listen, it throws you off a cliff. And that's where you tend to get you get in trouble for not listening. So like in the past, maybe this is a job that said, hey, you should quit your job to do event planning. And then you get pushed really hard. You should quit your job to do event planning. And then they push you so hard, you get fired from your job because you've been too focused on doing event planning while you're at your job. So like what I've learned over the years is like trust that inner calling as you grow your business. That is the only, like, you can get advice from me, you can get advice from all these YouTube videos, but like that inner feeling of what to do next is so important for a business owner. So like as you go into rough times or good times next year, you have to know just like how to trust your instincts and navigate the business world and the decisions you make to grow your business by what's inside. And so I have to remind myself to do that every once in a while. And so just to be honest with you, like we ran our store this year and I noticed like early on, I was like, oh my God, the sales this year are just not that good. Like what's going on? I was like, oh, that's fine. We'll just figure it out. Like, you push marketing and stuff like that. And just like, it just was this little push. And then it was like a shove and I was like, oh shit. And I tried to like just candidly tried to hire different store managers and different people to kind of fix the problem. But in the end, like it was just a sign that we've grown our business and we've been, operating a retail store. And now we have to shift focus because the universe and just like where we're at has to change. And so like what we're doing is we focus so long on people coming in to just get like party supplies. But what we're doing is just adding value for people that actually love to plan parties and event professionals. So like I'm giving advice here on how you guys can grow your business, but in the store will move to our warehouse and downstairs will be a hub where people can learn and take classes and people can have a membership card where they can get cheap balloons for planning their events. So balloon artists, event planners, and even just like not even people that want to do it for a living, but just have like the coolest birthday parties for their kids. They're going to be able to come and just have a space of community where they can learn and get items that are just going to help them grow their event that they're planning. And so like that's a shift. And so just to end on this conversation as it's now coming to me, what the major focus for 2026 needs to be is community. And I see a lot of business owners that are my friends that are just like creating the most amazing community with their workshops and their classes. And when all the marketing feels fake and when all the business owners feel, we get these like ads on Facebook and we don't know what's the right thing to do or not. The thing that always wins is community. Like if you have a community of trusted individuals that just love your business and you just provide value so much, it literally helps to grow your business tenfold because that equals referrals. And I can go on and on, but community is really where we need to focus on 2026. So what does that mean for you? If you're a balloon artist, that means that maybe if you're maybe if your focus is on baby showers, maybe you create a community, whether it be a Facebook group or school group, where whenever people that fill out your form, regardless if they book you or not, there's a community of baby shower moms that are going to have babies in the next 8 months. And they can get resources and coupons and maybe other moms who've had their babies already, they're donating stuff down to the community. Being an owner of that community and fostering, help for new moms, that's something that you can use to provide value, and then they're going to trust you to book you for their first birthday, their baby shower, their gender reveal. And so really the focus is on community. And if it's flowers, it's creating a community of people that just love to create flowers and love to source flowers. We have to create communities in 2026. I hope this video was helpful. I do want to say, if you're not part of our community, my community, the Party Company, it is something new where I have this community where I teach other event professionals in the industry across the United States on how to grow their business. So we have a couple people in there. We got balloon artists. You're going to be the first florist in there. You're going to be the first event planner, photographer. I just want to fill it with so many people, and we're just going to be able to give advice, celebrate our wins in 2026, and just help each other out. So if you haven't joined the school.com group, I'll link a comment below. And then please subscribe if you haven't. I'm very new to YouTube, but I would love to grow this channel and help other event professionals like you. So I appreciate your help, and I'll see you in 2026.